Our issue was strictly with management, and it had nothing to do with Beyonce and Kelly.
Did you get your dad back?
No. It was hard. Smile. Gangster. I had to sacrifice my relationship with my dad.
What it is, ho, what's up?
Mathew Knowles is the architect that was behind the rise to Beyoncé's superstardom, molding her into the legend that she is today. Now, as her manager, he didn't just guide her career, he built the foundation from the ground up, from forming Destiny's Child to securing major deals and instilling a sharp business mindset in his daughter. Mathew ensured Beyoncé moved through the industry with precision, power, and longevity. And one thing about this channel is we do not play about longevity. His influence helped her master every facet of the game, making her nearly untouchable. But his unwavering focus on Beyoncé's success came at a cost. Former Destiny Child members LaToya Luckett, Latavia Robertson, and Farrah Franklin became collateral damage, casualties of a machine that wasn't designed to protect them. Even Kelly Rowland, our beautiful Kelly Rowland, despite her loyalty, sometimes felt the weight of playing second to Mathew's golden child. His management style was cutthroat, his decisions were ruthless, and while they solidified Beyoncé's dominance, they also left a trail of broken dreams in their wake. It really depends on whose perspective you're looking at. From Beyoncé's point of view, Mathew Knowles was the ultimate visionary, her protector, her strategist, the man who sacrificed everything to ensure her success. He gave up his corporate job, poured his finances into Destiny Child, and made sure his daughter had every advantage possible in a ruthless industry. Without him, there's no guarantee Beyoncé would have become the powerhouse she is today. So can you blame him? He did what any parent wants to do, secure a future for his children. But in doing so, he made choices that prioritized Beyoncé at the expense of others. He played the long game, and while it worked out for her, his flaws became too much to handle. Tina Knowles, his lifetime partner, who eventually had to walk away when his ambition spiraled into infidelity and betrayal. And even Beyoncé, his greatest success story, eventually had to cut ties, choosing independence and overall choosing her mother. Solange, the independent firecracker, again, choosing her mother. Despite everything, Mathew doesn't get the credit he deserves because his own flaws overshadowed his contributions. He built Beyoncé, but in the end, he also lost her. So, how did this happen? But before we get into that, hi my lovelies. So winter is over and spring is here. Now if you're like me and you're always on the go, then you need a scent that's gonna keep up with you. This month, I have been testing out some new fragrances from Scentbird, and let me tell you, they did not disappoint. D'Orsay Uno Rose is a luxurious take on the classic rose. I like smelling like a pretty flower, so this scent definitely got me. I also got Novatus Ambrosia Imperial. The first notes are definitely a sweet banana scent, and fun fact, I actually hate the smell of real bananas, so liking this scent actually surprised me. I also got Juice Expressive by Commodity and 5 Senses Life of the Party, which are definitely worth checking out. Each month, you get an 8mm vial, about 120 sprays, so you actually get a chance to see if the scent fits your vibe before going all in. And with over 900 designer niches and fragrances, there's always something new to discover. If you're ready to start your fragrance journey, now's the perfect time. Use my promo code Clarissa to get 55% off your first month. That's just $8 to try a new scent. Remember, use my promo code Clarissa to get 55% off your first month. Trust me, this is one subscription you won't regret. Happy scent hunting! Mathew Knowles grew up in Gadsden, Alabama during the era of segregation and was the only black student in his elementary school. His upbringing in the racially divided South played a significant role in shaping his work ethic and determination.
I grew up in Gadsden, Alabama. I was born in 1952. Small industrial town. I grew up in segregation. My mother went to high school with Coretta King, being one of the first African American at Litchfield Junior High, having state troopers take me to school every day, having parents outside with signs and saying very negative things about a young kid.
As the only black student in his elementary school, he learned early on how to navigate spaces where he was the outsider. That experience sharpened his ability to adapt and his understanding of how to maneuver in predominantly white institutions, skills that would later serve him well in business and the music industry. In 1974, he graduated from Fisk University, a prestigious HBCU in Nashville, Tennessee, earning both a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. Fisk taught him how to build connections and understand financial systems. These were critical lessons on how to seize opportunities, how to think long-term, and how to position himself in a way that allowed him to thrive in competitive environments. These lessons became the foundation of his career, first in sales and corporate management at companies like Xerox, and later as a music mogul. He spent a decade at Xerox Corporation, where he built a strong foundation in corporate sales. Primarily within the medical systems division, he was selling CT and MRI diagnostic imaging equipment to hospitals and healthcare facilities. Later, he took on a role in neurosurgical sales at Johnson & Johnson. As you can guess, big money things. Despite Mathew's understanding of racial dynamics and challenges he faced as a black man in a predominantly white space, his own views were still shaped by colorism. He has openly admitted that when he first pursued Tina, he initially mistook her for a white woman, an assumption that speaks to deeply ingrained biases within society, even among Mathew, who experienced discrimination firsthand.
So, I began dating either all white or extremely light complexion black women. I mean, when I saw Tina, I met her at a party, and you see somebody at a party and you think they're white, but I consciously thought she was white. I have to say, once I met her, it was very clear that she was a very conscious black woman.
In the 1980s, Mathew made $200,000. In the 80s, he helped Tina develop her own salon, making them millionaires in the 80s. If you look at Beyonce's childhood home, she was pretty well off. Mathew had a good job, Tina had a good job, and they never struggled pre-Destiny Child. But when the time came, Mathew took on a new challenge. Mathew always wanted to work within the music industry and noticed early on that Beyoncé was very talented. Seeing her slowly develop her skills and get recommendations from other adults inspired him to invest in Beyoncé's dreams.
I always had a dream for myself. I had always given myself 20 years in corporate America. I wanted to be in the music industry. It was happening at the same time that my oldest daughter, Beyoncé, had a dream that she wanted to be in the music industry.
Beyoncé, along with Kelly and Latavia, were a part of Girls' Time, where Beyoncé was the lead singer. Before Mathew stepped in, Girls' Time was a talented but unpolished 6-member group. Their big moment came in 1993 when they competed on Star Search, but after losing to a rock band, that's when Mathew took control. Seeing the immense potential in Beyoncé and the group, he quit his 6-figure corporate job to manage them full-time. He downsized his family lifestyle, sold their house, and invested everything into training the girls for superstardom. He trimmed the group from 6 members to 4, cutting those who didn't fit his vision. He took artist development to a whole new level and went into a militant approach, better than most record companies. This is where the girls learned about work ethic, because Mathew was not lenient on them. His artist development boot camp trained the girls like professional athletes. He made them sing while running on treadmills to build stamina. This became a well-known phenomenon with what some people call the school of Beyoncé, working out while training your vocal cords for a better performance. If anything Beyoncé is known for is her amazing performances, but her ability to sing while doing full-on choreography has been praised. This tactic should be accredited to Mathew. He drilled in them the rigorous dance routines and ensured they could harmonize perfectly under pressure.
And we went running.
In the summers, we had a summer camp, and it went like this. 7 o'clock, ladies woke up.
We had voice lessons, rehearse, go over dance steps, rehearsing heels.
Then we went jogging. And on the jogging trail, one of the things they would do is sing as they were running to build up their endurance.
Yeah, we practiced every summer to try to get us a record deal, and it was very hard. It was like all we thought about and all we wanted was to be famous.
You're the love of my life. You're the love of my life. Your love, ooh, keeps me high. You're the love of my life.
The final lineup of the group was Beyoncé, Kelly, Latavia, and LaToya. He rebranded them with a more mature image, eventually renaming them Destiny's Child, inspired by the passage in the Bible. Knowing that the industry wouldn't just hand them a record deal, Mathew relentlessly pitched the group to labels, producers, and industry executives. He personally funded their development, paying for vocal training, choreography, and studio sessions. He also pulled favors using his corporate sales experience to secure meetings and opportunities for the group. He knew that every opportunity mattered. They didn't always have the ability to take a break and be kids without it coming at a cost.
They were singing, and I was like, stop. I don't really care if Teresa too.
I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, God, I thought they were great.
See the price you're paying for going swimming the other day? The ladies the night before had gone swimming. And I told them, I said, look, tomorrow's a very important day. You can't blow this. You're going to be stopped up if you go swimming.
After relentless work, they finally secured a deal with Elektra Records. Believing that this was their big break, the group moved to Atlanta to begin working on their first recording. But just when they thought they were on their way, Elektra dropped them before they could even release a single song. The rejection was devastating, not just for the group but for the Knowles family as well. Mathew had already risked everything, quitting his stable corporate job to manage the group full-time. With no deal, no income, financial strain began to set in, and Beyoncé's parents separated under the pressure. Eventually, Mathew played a pivotal role in securing Destiny's Child's recording contract with Columbia Records. In 1997, Mathew negotiated a deal with Columbia Records. The contract stipulated that Sony Music, Columbia's parent company, would cover all recording expenses. For their debut album, the group received an advance of $85,000. This amount increased significantly for the rest of their albums, a minimum of $350,000 to $700,000 for their second album, $375,000 to $750,000 for their third album. Their debut album, Destiny's Child, received moderate success with their lead single, No No No, but their second album, Writings on the Wall, it was an undeniable guarantee that they were here for the long run. With their singles Bills, Bills, Bills and Say My Name. With all the success, Mathew's controlling management style started kicking in. LaToya and Latavia's exit from Destiny's Child was one of the most controversial moments in the group's history. While the official narrative at the time was that they left due to creative differences, the real story involved management disputes, alleged favoritism, and behind-the-scenes power struggles. LaToya and Latavia began feeling sidelined. They noticed that Mathew was prioritizing Beyoncé and Kelly over them, both in terms of lead vocals and promotional opportunities. The two felt that Mathew was making business decisions that didn't favor anyone else but Beyoncé. From early on, he saw the other members as replaceable and didn't value their parts in the group. Even with all the hard work that they had put in, if one of the members got sick, Mathew just didn't care. He only wanted the job to get done. He also began allegedly taking a larger cut of the group's earnings. So LaToya and Latavia decided that they wanted an independent manager to represent their interests while still remaining a part of Destiny's Child.
Mathew got the phone call that Latavia was very sick, and the next day we were going on our European tour. And we were all like, well, what are we gonna do? We can't go. And he was like, well, Janella, the choreographer, can take her place.
I was shocked. I was literally floored. I have 104 fever. I can't leave.
They really didn't understand still the necessary personal sacrifices they had to make to really become great at this.
You know, this is our group member. You can't just replace a group member because she's sick. She's in the hospital.
It makes you feel like, was it worth it? Was it, not?
The dynamic of Destiny's Child was also pretty weird. Considering Mathew put up the majority of the money to fund Destiny's Child from the jump, he really did have a heavy hand in everything that came with Destiny's Child. And in a way, it does make sense. When you look at it, the entire crew of Destiny's Child was the majority of Beyonce's family, which left the other girls' families out the loop. The most notable situation was when Mathew Knowles prevented LaToya's mom from coming on the tour bus that was shared with Jagged Edge.
Why did Mathew Knowles have to kick y'all off the bus?
Because we don't be going for that bullshit. so Mathew don't never love to tell the whole story. Mathew was going to put LaToya was 17, about to be 18 years old, a 17-year-old girl off in the middle of Louisiana because her mother came and got on the tour bus. Mathew had an issue with Miss Pam, and Mathew wasn't on the road with us at this point in time, so Miss Pam kind of flew in and rode the bus with us. Yeah. Because she did that, he was gonna put that girl and her mama off the bus. I know I was up in the front, I think it was me and Kyle, it might have been me and Wing, I don't remember, but we was like, hell no, you ain't finna put her off the bus no. Yeah. So little did we know, being the little young troublemakers we are, little did we know, it don't matter, because we paying for the bus. The groups are paying for the bus, but Mathew Knowles did the contract. So his name is on the contract. So all he got to do is call the police and tell him, I want them removed, and they came and removed us. Damn. 4 19-year-old guys and a 17-year-old, no, we was 20 at that point, 20-year-old guys and a 17-year-old girl for nothing. We ain't did nothing to Mathew Knowles. Miss Pam ain't do nothing to Mathew Knowles that day. Yeah. He wasn't even in the city that day. Yeah. So he was like, hell no, you ain't finna, but the police had the last word. Yeah.
Mathew had an issue with Miss Pam and did not want her on the tour bus. Jagged Edge members, seeing this, they thought it was wrong to leave a woman stranded on the street and defended LaToya's mom, which resulted in Miss Pam and Jagged Edge being kicked off the bus. Tensions began to rise for obvious reasons, and once LaTavia got sick, it was just a wrap from then on.
First we started out real cool.
It wasn't something that happened suddenly, like at the spur of a moment. It was something that had been going on. It was things that we were noticing for years.
It was conflicts that were going on.
Yeah,
the departure was like this. It's just a real weird feeling to actually be with somebody since you were 9 and 10 and then be separated so suddenly.
Like the drop of a hat.
But how and why could this have possibly happened? After a multi-platinum year filled with hit after hit, the self-proclaimed family unit that was Destiny's Child gave no outward signs of internal trouble.
We're gonna do our new video too. That's right. Say my name. Say my name. I think 27th of December, to be exact.
That video, Say My Name, ended up being shot weeks later, with LaToya and LaTavia nowhere in sight, and their places taken by 2 brand new Destiny's members, Farrah Franklin and Michelle Williams.
What was that like, though, when you heard that they'd shot a video for a song you sang on without you?
I was like, nah, you playing, shut up.
I was like, hold on. I was like, it's not true.
The girls didn't find out they were kicked out of the group until they saw the Say My Name video, and they had 2 new girls lip-syncing their parts. LaToya and LaTavia tried to speak to Mathew personally, but the conversations were met with stubborn behavior. In Mathew's perspective, the group was curated around Beyonce, and as long as Beyonce and Kelly were there, he did not care about the other members. Every issue that the girls had was strictly with Mathew, not Beyonce or Kelly. LaToya and LaTavia found out that Mathew trademarked their names behind their backs without their knowledge or parents' knowledge. What most people don't know is that LaToya and LaTavia got kicked out the group multiple times before they were ever finally kicked out. Every time Mathew got angry at them, he was quick to kick them out and bring them back. Mathew genuinely felt like they were replaceable because they also weren't allowed to really sing. The leads were mostly for Beyonce and Kelly. LaToya and LaTavia were mostly background singers. So even if they just spent the past 10 years growing the group, Mathew could care less about their contributions. LaToya and LaTavia never fully left Destiny's Child. They were dismissed from the group, and that's when they decided to file a lawsuit against the group. There was a ton of he said, she said, and miscommunication all around. Even Beyonce played a part in it. However, the situation wasn't entirely her fault. While she's not free of fault, I can acknowledge the circumstances that shaped the media's portrayal of the situation. Maybe I should make a version that breaks down Beyoncé's role in Destiny's Child, but that's a topic for another day. Eventually, the girls finally settled the lawsuit against Destiny's Child, but another lawsuit was brewing in the background. In the early 2000s, a legal dispute emerged involving Mathew and the estate of Andre Tillman, a former co-manager of the group. The lawsuit filed by the Tillmans family sought $32 million, alleging that after Tillman's death in 1997, Mathew failed to honor the agreements entitling her estate to a share of the group's earnings. The suit also accused Mathew of mismanaging funds and engaging in substance abuse and extramarital affairs, which hindered his management duties. Regarding the allegations of substance abuse, reports from that period suggested that Mathew exhibited erratic behavior during rehearsals, allegedly due to drug use. He allegedly was known to retreat to private areas to consume substances, returning in an agitated state, which affected his conduct during important meetings about Beyoncé's career. In response to personal challenges, Mathew sought professional help on 2 occasions. In 1992, he entered a treatment facility to address the issues related to extramarital affairs. By 1998, during his second treatment, it focused on addressing his pattern of infidelity. Again, this lawsuit exposed a lot of tea related to Mathew being a cheater, but the lawsuit was eventually settled out of court. So when Destiny's Child brought in Farrah Franklin and Michelle into the group, you could only imagine there was a lot of backlash happening. Not just for LaToya and Latavia, who had to deal with the public embarrassment of people wondering what they're gonna do next. They had to try and pivot. They faced homelessness and dealt with the emotional turmoil of seeing Destiny's Child continue to succeed. Beyoncé, as much as people wanted to make her the villain, and she was shady here and there, but she was also mourning the loss of her friends that she had since she was a child.
We knew each other for so many years. We grew up together, we were best friends, we were all sisters, we completed each other. And it wasn't losing a business partner or a group member, it was losing a best friend, 2 best friends. And still to this day, I have dreams about them, and I still miss them sometimes. And it's so sad, and it's so unfortunate that all of those years, you know, it happened like that. And we would have never thought, when the first album came out, I would have never thought that we would end up not being together. About 2 days after the Grammy nominations, I said, you know what? We are not about to end this group. We have worked too hard. We said if we find 2 girls, we'll do it. If we don't find 2 girls, then we know it's not meant to be.
You know, you can't be too fragile, and you did kind of touch on it when you said there was no therapist back then. But even back then, y'all had to be fragile too. Yeah. So if it wasn't for those people walking y'all through, and I'm sure you did crack.
What? Yeah, I mean, here's the cool part. Like, there wasn't like a shade room or a media takeout to see the cracking. Like, I was able to actually have my feelings and my mess ups and my emotions in the comfort of my home. Until Wendy Williams found out. There was a Wendy Williams back then. It was, but Wendy didn't have. She ain't had nothing to say about me, thank God. And I was just able to heal and go through everything that I needed to go through without a camera in my face or a blog finding out or something like that. And I remember when everything first happened, I was in my bedroom listening to the local radio station, and they started talking about it. And I was alone in my room, 17, 18 years old. And I just remember putting the sheets over my head. By it, you mean the breakup? Yeah. I'm sure that's got to be like frustrating to constantly hear about. Because it's like that didn't go away for a while. Yeah, it didn't go away, and it's like having a for real it's a divorce. It's a major divorce, and seeing your partner move on and be successful, and folk love them, and it's, you know. And here's the part, like, I am glad that situation happened because, one, I was able to, I'm a PK, but I got to know God on a whole nother level. You know what I mean? My relationship with God changed. I also became confident in myself. Had I not, you know, gone through that, I wouldn't have become a solo artist. I wouldn't have been able to, I didn't even feel that I was even ready to move on or be a part of this industry after that happened. And God allowed the opportunity for me to get back in the studio. Then I got a record. Then I got a record deal. Then I started performing. And I was having like major breakdowns before even going live on stage because I was like, I'm up here by myself. I'm up here by myself. Like, what am I gonna do?
We all know who Beyonce is and love her. How has that experience been for you with that thief of comparison and people?
I guess there is a certain amount of comparison. I don't understand why. I always knew my place in the group. I did what it is that I loved with my sisters. When that familyhood and that sisterhood got taken away from me, it was almost like a marriage going bad. I lost my friends, I lost my sisters. I didn't grow up in a capacity or the way everybody was. The last time I went to school, I was in the 7th grade. I've been working since I was 6. And then for that to happen because of something that has to do with business, it was hurtful. But you know what? We deal and we cope and we move on, and time heals all wounds.
There was a lot of underlying factors, but the main focus was Mathew's management and the girls feeling like there was a lot of unfair treatment. After the dust settled, Destiny's Child dropped Survivor, which brought on another lawsuit for the group. In 2002, LaToya and Latavia sued the group over the song, claiming that the lyrics violated a previous settlement agreement that barred both sides from publicly speaking negatively about each other.
Child. And we felt that they were in breach of our settlement agreement by some of the lyrics in the song of Survivor.
Like what?
Like, now that you're out of my life, I feel much better. So now a million without you.
Beyoncé said the song wasn't about the former members, but anyone who'd ever doubted the group.
Everybody knew. If you were in your right mind, you knew what Survivor was about.
Thought that I would die without you, but I'm living.
And you've guessed it. The case was settled out of court.
They felt like the lines, "You thought I wouldn't sell without you, sold 9 million, were aimed at them. Now, even though Farrah took the girl's spot in the Say My Name video, she wasn't there for the Survivor video. Why is that? It's because Farrah was having a hard time in Destiny's Child and also felt like she wasn't being treated fairly, so she left the group after 6 months. But really, according to Farrah, she was really in the group for like a year. But Farrah leaving the group is a whole story on its own that again revolves mostly around Mathew. Farrah and Michelle were thrown into the group as temporaries. Michelle and Farrah had a lot of catching up to do, but a lot of people focused on Farrah because she wasn't as trained, especially vocally, to be the standard of Destiny's Child. But with Mathew's skills in artist development and his obsession with building the group up, it seems odd that he would just pick someone like Farrah, who a lot of people called untalented, to be a part of the group even if she was a temporary. But apparently this was strategic because she had the looks and was meant to fill Latavia's role.
Being in the group no more.
Mathew happens.
What was y'all real?
Sweet management. Like, basically he was a very interesting person. And
he can't hurt you anymore.
I'm not dealing with
Can't hurt you no more. It's over. What did he do? What did he do?
No, I mean,
he didn't try to R. Kelly. You did it.
I'll leave that alone.
Oh Lord,
No, he didn't try to pee on me.
Okay, just regular fucking. Okay.
I've never.
Cool.
Oh, no sex.
No. Okay.
No sex in the champagne room.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, I actually was dating a gentleman who was older at the time, and
it's not R. Kelly, right?
It's definitely not R. Kelly.
Okay, go ahead.
No, he was behind the scenes. But it was just more of a controlling aspect, and you know.
From your boyfriend or from Mathew?
From Mathew.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was just a lot of things going on that, you know, were not supposed to be happening. Just the way I was spoke to, like you wouldn't want nobody talking to your daughter that way.
What do you say? Hey man, little bitch, don't get in here. I mean, you know what time I done told you to be downstairs?
Listen,
I beat your mother. Shit like that.
His nickname used to be Ikey Joe.
Get out of here. He was beating everybody up?
No, don't drop that mic, honey. And it was a lot because honestly, Michelle and I weren't supposed to be in Destiny's Child as long as they were. Beyonce already had a solo album that was coming out. She had records with Prince and all this prior to. Like, we came in because people were like, oh, you kicked out the other girls and now you're leaving your members. People were upset about that. Real fans were not happy about all the situations and the moving, and like, you lose that many members. I mean, that's like you have 7 baby daddies. You have to put some of that blame on yourself. It's not 7 different people saying the same thing, and it's not you at all.
But she could not keep up with the rigorous schedule and did need more vocal training.
You're as cute as the rest. You don't need that studio workup to be cute.
Thank you.
It must be that you can't sing naturally. Turn everything out and sing. You know Wishing on a Star?
Wishing on a Star.
All right.
I actually brought one of my songs with me.
No. We want to hear something where we can really be critical of you.
An old Destiny Child's record.
Yes, and not Bills.
Okay, let me see.
Girlfriend.
Okay, I know a little something.
Okay, go ahead.
You don't know the pain that I feel.
What song is this?
You're taking my love for granted and you just want to see it your way. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's about that time.
Houston.
I'm gonna tell you what's on my mind. I'm fed up with you not being
Houston, we need the zhuzh-up equipment.
when you know love is all I need.
Okay, but you want to know what? That's still workable. That's still workable. It's not the best voice,
but it's me.
But it's you, and I'll tell you what you have. You have artists saying you're stunning looking, but you know what? You have the look.
There was just a lot of iffy stuff within the group, like Farrah and the rest of the girls having the tan and having Farrah lose weight. But again, this was management doings, not Beyonce, but it kind of puts a perspective on the group's dynamics.
Wanted you to, she was trying to downplay your naturally stunning looks while you were in the group. Did she have you dye your hair, or she wanted you to dye it something other than the stunning black that it is?
Yeah, my hair was red when I was in the group, actually. And I was
brown red, like the old Kelly red? What?
My hair was red. My hair was red. I look a lot different than when I was in the group.
Damn sure do, because I don't even recognize you.
Yeah.
I know your name, but I don't know you.
This is how I would have looked naturally, but this is the group. That's how they wanted me to look.
What else would they do to ugly you up?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but I mean, I did have to tan a lot.
Tan a lot, because they wanted Beyonce to be the lightest one?
I mean, Michelle, I, and Kelly tanned sometimes, so.
Wow. And Beyonce wouldn't tan?
Wow. Not unless you're at a beach.
Wow. And then that sunscreen would be 45.
I don't know.
Girls, are you stunned?
Yes.
I didn't pay attention to you when you were in the group. It was always all about Beyonce. I fell for exactly what they wanted me to do. Girls, do you remember her look when she was in the group?
Yeah, she was my favorite one out of the new girl.
It was Zoe?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
That's Zoe. She's a virgin.
She's my favorite one, too.
Yeah. Are you a virgin?
No.
Clearly not. You know what I'm saying? I saw your walk away. No.
Chief's up.
Do you know the chief?
Do I know the what?
The chief.
What's that?
Okay. Very nice. Were you required to gain any weight, wear any particular clothes, do any?
I was required to lose weight.
Oh. Because they wanted Beyonce to be the full body one. See, we can turn this any way you wanted to at the show. If they said that she had to gain weight, then it would be like, oh, they wanted Beyonce to be the skinniest. They told you to lose weight, not because you're fat.
The group official story was that Farrah was unreliable, missing key events like the promotional tour in Australia, and Beyonce later said in an interview that Farrah's absence made it impossible for the group to move forward with her. But Farrah completely denies these versions of events. She has reportedly stated that she left on her own due to mistreatment and the intense controlling management style of Mathew Knowles. She recalled feeling unsupported, especially when she was sick, and claims that the narrative of her being unprofessional was fabricated to make her departure seem justified. She also emphasized that she never actually missed a show, pushing back against the idea that she was unreliable, which is similar to what LaToya and Latavia were saying when they were in the group. Being sick or being against Matthew's words caused a lot of conflict. If you think about it, Kelly was safe in the group because she became a part of Beyonce's family, and I'm not insinuating that she was mistreated, but if she wasn't vocal about any mistreatment. From what we've seen, Tina was her mother, Mathew played the father role, the group was structured around Beyonce, but Kelly was a great addition since she didn't have any parental figure watching over her. Farrah felt uncomfortable because they worked all the time, only having a few days off during the month, so she didn't have the privilege of having familiar faces around her. Whereas Beyonce had her whole family right by her side, and Beyonce's family also being Kelly's family. Farrah never felt comfortable during her time in DC. She claimed that Mathew made inappropriate advances towards her, adding to the tension between them. There was constant miscommunication and conflict between her and Mathew. She just felt alone with no one in her corner, considering he was not just the group's manager, but also Beyonce's father. It's easy to imagine how difficult and uncomfortable that situation must have been for her. If you watch my Michelle Williams video, I dove into her time with Destiny's Child. Michelle is very unproblematic and was honestly the perfect replacement. She was more the type to do what she had to do with very few complaints. The only times we know that she had some ill feelings is when she expressed to Mathew that she was depressed, and Mathew told her, why would she be depressed when she just sold millions of records?
I remember telling our manager at the time as well, hey, I think I'm dealing with some depression, and he wanted me to see the brighter side of things. No, y'all are about to go on tour. Y'all got Barbie dolls. What are you talking about? Y'all just signed a crazy big deal with Columbia. I could see myself in a pit trying to get out, just feeling so heavy that when I would make one step, the weight would just pull me back down. And the weight just felt more comfortable than healing.
In 2011, Mathew faced allegations of embezzling funds from Beyoncé during her 2011 world tour. These accusations reportedly originating from Live Nation Entertainment, which Jay-Z is a partner with. This led to Beyoncé commissioning an audit which supported the claims of financial misconduct. Beyoncé then fired him as her manager, but there was more to this. In Beyoncé's documentary, she also explained that mixing business with her family in the long run made her lose her father in the process.
When you're trying to have an everyday conversation with your parents, you have to talk about scheduling and you have to talk about your album and performing and touring. It's just too stressful, and it really affects your relationships. Take a break. Shoot. Okay. Like at the very end, I needed boundaries, and I think my dad needed boundaries. I needed a break. I needed my dad.
And did you get your dad back?
No, it was hard.
Now, you can't talk about Beyonce's success without acknowledging Mathew's influence. He had his flaws, many of them, but from the very beginning, he prioritized passion and success, shaping her into the artist she is today, along with Solange. As talented as Beyoncé is, she always benefited immensely from her upbringing. Mathew was relentless in his pursuit of greatness for her, instilling the work ethic that set her apart from many of her peers. From early childhood, he pushed her beyond what most young performers experience, running grueling rehearsals, organizing talent shows, and making sure she was trained. He treated her career like a business from the start, ensuring that she was not just a singer, but a performer, a brand, and a disciplined worker. His tough coaching style wasn't always easy, but it helped her develop the resilience to sustain a decades-long career in an industry that chews artists up and spits them right out. No matter how much natural talent Beyoncé had, he helped bring it out. Beyoncé, at this state in her career, almost at least 30 years in, she is currently one of the best artists and is undeniably a living legend, maintaining her own standard and surpassing her own standards. It wasn't just Mathew sacrificing to give Beyoncé what she wanted, it was his belief in her that also helped her achieve what she has achieved today. And for that, Beyoncé will always be thankful and grateful for her father, but she also dealt with the emotional turmoil that Mathew has caused in her life. The loss of her lifelong friends, which they're now friends, but that was a tragedy within its own, and was partly due to Mathew, early onset infidelity in his marriage to Tina, and fathering children outside of his marriage and allegedly stealing money from her. Losing Beyoncé as a client was already a massive hit to his career, but it didn't stop there. Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams also parted ways with him, leaving him without the three biggest names he had built his management career around. With his reputation now questioned in the industry, Mathew faced a harsh reality. Without addressing these allegations, his future as a music manager would be in jeopardy. Determined to clear his name, Mathew took legal action, suing over the claims that had painted him as untrustworthy. He argued that these accusations not only cost him his business, but also made it difficult to secure new clients in an industry where trust and credibility is everything. Managing Beyoncé had once been his greatest achievement, but now the fallout from their professional split threatened to erase his career entirely. Mathew's image is now plagued with greatness for building a superstar, but lack of respect because his personal flaws continue to touch Beyoncé's career, and those flaws being his infidelities and outside children. In 2009, while still married to Tina, Mathew had an affair with Alexandra Wright, an actress and public relations executive. Their relationship led to the birth of their son, Nixon Knowles, in February of 2010. However, Mathew initially denied the paternity of their son, which led to Alexandra to file a paternity lawsuit against him. After the court-ordered DNA test confirmed that Mathew was indeed the father, of course, Alexandra sought child support to help with raising their son. This situation became highly publicized, putting Mathew under scrutiny not just for cheating, but also for how he handled his responsibilities. The scandal played a major role in Tina filing for divorce in 2009, ending their 31-year marriage in 2011. A few years later, Alexandra revealed that Mathew stopped making child support payments, which led to her financial struggles. Reports even surfaced that she and Nixon were forced to live in a homeless shelter at one point due to Mathew's failure to pay. Alexandra would come out and publicly call out Beyoncé for living lavishly while she was facing a financial issue, claiming that Beyoncé won't speak to her brother, but she doesn't have the same acknowledgement for Solange. Just a few years after, Mathew found himself in yet another paternity battle, this time with Tokoya Branscombe, a former lingerie model turned real estate agent.
You remember Tokoya? Oh, you remember. Tokoya. Mathew Knowles' baby's mother, Tokoya. You know Tokoya. No, you know Tokoya.
In 2014, Tokoya filed a paternity lawsuit claiming that Mathew was the father of her daughter, Coy Knowles, who was born in 2010. Initially, Mathew did not acknowledge Coy as his child, leading to Tokoya seeking a court-ordered DNA test. The results showing a 99.999% certainty that Mathew was indeed Coy's father. With the truth out, Tokoya pursued child support, but by this time, Mathew's financial situation had significantly declined. After losing his role as Beyoncé's manager in 2011, his income took a hit, and reports surfaced that he had trouble keeping up with his payments for both Nixon and Coy, which could be 100% true, could not be true, but that's what the reports were saying. In the grand finale of things, Mathew will always have respect because he did build Beyoncé and Solange into amazing entertainers. But like a businessman, he stepped on people and dragged their careers along the way. His goal was to elevate his children, which he accomplished, but his personal character flaws in the end became too much to handle. From a public standpoint, Beyoncé and Solange chose their mother, so the fans followed suit, and then came the decline of Mathew Knowles' reputation. Let me know what you guys think down below about Mathew and his role in DC and Beyoncé's career. Remember, use my promo code Clarissa to get 55% off your first month. Trust me, this is one subscription you won't regret. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Toodles!